the kids. Well, having kids, not.
Yeah. But no, are you on the kind of like the interview treadmill,
Oh
doing all
yes,
the
I thought you meant like exercise. Yes,
God no.
yeah. I've got I'm trying to just do one a night, so it doesn't, because I can
Right.
only really do it 9 p.m. onwards. So I don't want
Yeah.
to be doing it till like midnight.
No, no, and because yeah, I had this vision of you like, coming off like, three or four interviews and be like,
No,
oh, this is my last of the night.
no, I did that on the last album. It's too much. Like it was like
Yeah,
7:30 till 10. I was like, oh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's not like back in the day, mate. You can't just do a few magazines and it's all done.
I wouldn't know.
Oh, mate, it's yeah. Be them wet days.
Them wet days, lad.
Aye, lad. Um, so are you how do you feel about the album? You chuffed with it?
Yeah, really happy. It's something we wanted to do. Well, after doing the last album that was just completely full on thrash, extreme, we wanted to flip it on its head and do the exact opposite. So
Yeah,
we just found our pocket in each song and just we're really happy with it,
yeah, yeah. Well, as a fellow member of bands, I know exactly where you're coming from. It's like been there, done that. Right. How are we gonna stay interested?
Yeah,
What engages us?
exact. That's the point. Like we're not even thinking about will people like this? Are they going to react differently to this? It's like, do we like it or not? And that's the
Mm.
criteria.
You can only write the album you've got in you, can't you?
Yeah. If for 1 second we thought, oh, should we put this in because people like that? It's gone. Like, I'm not
Yeah,
interested there.
yeah. Or like, oh, that's like put a little Evile bit in there, all
Yeah,
of
like
us.
an
Oh,
eval.
yeah, yeah. All of a sudden you're ripping yourself off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm you've like vocally, obviously, I'm interested in this. Vocally, you're it's a lot more challenging for you.
Yeah. Well, I've always been able to sing, like sing melodically. I've got a really good sense of pitch. But I'd never had the ability to do it healthily, which I'm sure you understand. So,
Big time, mate.
you can like blow your voice and then you're screwed for like
Yeah.
the rest of the gigs. So for me, it was just I got in touch with Melissa Cross and just asked for help, and she really helped me out. And
Cool. Yeah.
just yeah, I'm still not there. I'm still learning, still blowing my voice, still having bad nights where I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. Um, it's just about balance and
Yeah.
finding that balance. In-ears really help. In-ear monitors have really helped me.
Right. Funnily enough, I'm laughing because 2 nights ago I had a chat with Kelly Schaefer from Atheist, and we were both banging on about how we can't be doing with in ears.
I get it. I really do.
Yeah.
But
But
the
I get
ones,
it for you as a guitarist as well. I absolutely get it.
yes, yeah. I think that the ones I've got are by a company called ACS. I'm not promoting, by the way. They have like they
Why are
have a
they
vent.
shit?
No. They have a vent in them, so you still get the room sound and people talking to you, and you get the
Right. Yeah.
decibel lowering. They're really good, but yeah, for guitar and vocals, it's a need. It's
Right.
definitely
It's like an ambient setting, like you get on some
yeah.
earbuds, so you can still like you can go running and if you're going to get run over or not.
Yeah.
You can hear a car behind you about to hit you. But I went on that journey about 4 or 5 years ago. Of we'd actually done the album,
Hmm.
but like album singing is like it's hard to describe to people the difference. It's like, well, you'd put the effort into one line
Yes.
when you're in the studio that you'd put into a whole verse live. you know
Yeah, it's odd because it's like I don't think people realize how much work you put into 6 words and then the next 5 words and
yeah,
getting it just right. And essentially, I think what I did was because live I'm concerned about blowing everything, but recording I don't mind if I blow it because it sounds a bit better if you like push it a bit, but then it's obviously going to take longer then for your voice to recover. So I tried to like push it just a bit on the album, but not to the point of blowing. So I think that's
Yeah.
where the distortion comes from.
Well, yeah, and you have to have it in there, but it's like,
Hmm.
and you can have that distortion live, but you use it like really sparingly,
Yeah, really.
because yeah, exactly, because you don't really need it. It's, well, basically, technically, it's head voice as much as possible,
Yeah.
and chest voice if you really need to accentuate it. Which, to be honest, in the kind of music we play, um, you don't really need, unless your voice is exposed
Mm.
completely or over just a guitar, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, some of the stuff on the newer stuff, because we're tuned to like C sharp on some songs where so the root is quite lower and I'm sticking around it. So a lot of it is chest, but live it's just I've got to do it clean because it's just you can't maintain that level of great. You're either doing death metal or you're doing power metal. You can't do in between for longer than, like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't anyway. I'm sure some people can. Like Max Cavalera, I don't know how he does that every night. His
No,
voice, I don't get
well,
it.
I remember when I was touring with Nuclear Assault way back in the day, and I said to John one night, I was like, so I was having problems with my voice, and I was like, so what do you do? And he was like, nothing. I've just like, I have a glass of whiskey before I go on stage. I was like,
What?
oh, oh, good for you, eh? And
Yeah,
then, I saw
great.
an interview with Ronnie Dio, like deep into his career, and he was like, do you do vocal warm-ups? And he said, yeah. And they said, what kind? He said, I smoke a joint.
Wow.
I know. And some people can do anything, and some people just have to constantly be on the lookout. I know for me, right? I've got to eat at least 4 hours before we go on stage,
Yeah,
and I've got to be clear pea, fully hydrated before we go on.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
drink as much water as I can. I get really bad acid reflux, so I have to
Mm.
avoid everything like,
Oh, that's terrible.
carbonated drinks, anything that's going to fuck my throat, basically. So I have really
Yeah.
boring diet.
Yeah, dairy, if you avoid all that.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
do admit, like, I fall foul of just saying, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to have them anyway. And then, like, a week before we start in some gigs, I'll be like, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But yeah, it's quite a thing. What I found really beneficial initially with going to a singing teacher was, um half the battle was the very first session, which was basically her telling me all of the bad habits I've picked up, and all the things I'm not doing,
Yeah.
and the bad things that I am doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my problem is I've always when you sing, you should be singing from your diaphragm and
Yeah.
projecting. You have
Yeah.
to project it. And for my whole life, I've never done that. I've always spoken and sung from my throat, like purely from the vocal folds.
Yeah.
I'm doing it now. I'm talking with them because I'm almost 40 and I've always done it. But singing is completely different, and I fall back into that habit, and I can feel myself hurting my throat at times. Like I can't
Yeah.
get out of that habit so easily. But I'm
Yeah.
getting better.
Yeah, it's really tough. That's why how I started out, and then learn the diaphragm stuff and all the rest of it. But the bad habits I'd picked up along the way were just, I was actually hilarious. The first, literally, I sang one of our songs, and she stopped me in the first verse, and she just went, "I've been sat here wondering when you were going to take a breath." And I'd got into the habit of, like, you get a big lungful of air, and I'll just sing till that runs out,
Wow.
and then I'll take another one.
Jesus.
What the fuck was I thinking?
I guess you were trying to be economic about your breaths. Get as much out of it as possible.
I know, but it just seems so mad. But check this out, right? I was talking to a producer the other day. He told me about a guy that we both know who's a singer, that not in the band anymore, but it's like, a guy in a big band that we all know, influential and all the rest of it. And he used to sing, and he would only sing breathing in. So
What?
he would breathe, he would sing breathing in.
So he'd breathe out to start and then
Yeah,
sing.
yeah, and just like yeah, and he said to
What?
and he said he has to record an album with him, and he was like, and he said basically the album took longer than the label said. Why did it take so long? He said because I had to teach this, because I had to completely reteach the singer how to sing.
How to breathe. What? I've only ever heard of breathing in singing for that whistle tone, you know, the Mariah Carey kind of thing.
Oh yes, yeah.
So if you breathe in and sing, you can get that like 2 octave up kind of thing, but
Do
not
you mean
actual
the
singing.
do you mean the obligatory iconic song that we all know that is covered by a breathy female voice for an advert for something, and it's just fucking
Possibly.
it's just like everywhere at the moment. It's
Yes.
like
Yeah,
every
I think
song you
so.
can think of, there's
Yeah.
like some teenage breathy girl singing a cover version of it.
Yes. Yeah.
But like, yeah, fuck's sake, what are they going to do next? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is. Well, funnily enough, I did a Zoom with Suzanne Vega, and I asked her about like what warm ups she does, and she was like, "Have a large glass of red wine and maybe suck a lozenge."
Wow.
I know, I know,
What?
I know. But she was really, but then she was like totally magnanimous. She was like, she said, "But if I had to do anything like what you do," she said, "Yeah, I'd be doing warm ups and warm downs and all the rest of it. I'd have to, but with what I do, I don't." I was like, yeah, you've really just got the groove. Got the groove there,
Wow. It's
man. I
amazing.
know. So there you go, mate. It should have been acoustic guitar and you could have just been humming,
Yeah.
you know?
Might have made some money.
Yeah. Chance to be a fan. Well, funnily enough, she was all over it. She was like streaming, absolutely loves it because she bought all her masters off a label, and she owns her
Wow.
own label. So streaming, she gets 100%. Hello.
100% of 0.003 pence.
Yeah. That's I don't get this. Everybody buying up catalogs. Do you?
I don't know much about it.
Well, yeah. You know, every so often you hear this, like, oh, Virgin Music has bought Bruce Springsteen's catalog for like
Oh
a
yeah.
hundred million, and you just think, when the fuck are they getting that back?
Yeah. In
You know,
these
I
days,
mean,
in this day and
yeah.
age, yeah.
But also the way it's heading, the way music's heading, it's like, yeah. So I don't
I
know.
guess it's more in the field of like last night we watched the latest Thor film, the Marvel film, and there was like 6 Guns N' Roses songs in there. I
Oh, right.
shudder to
Yeah.
think how much money they were paid for those. You know, it'll be
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Fair
four
point.
million,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And maybe
Stuff like
that,
that.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe they're thinking gaming as well,
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
because like, I'm an old man, and kids discover music now ways that didn't even exist when I was
Yeah.
discovering music, and
Yeah.
none of it's right and none of it's wrong. It's like kids discovering football through gaming and supporting players, not teams. That does my head in. But
I,
who am I to say they're wrong?
I mean, yeah, I had my favorite players when I was younger,
But they played for
but
your team, right?
yeah, I
Surely.
support the team. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like it's well, it doesn't matter as long as we're all appreciating the same thing, we're all getting to the same place. Doesn't matter.
No, I think it's all good. I mean, even kids are saying music and songs are going to be like 60 seconds long in a few years because that's the TikTok.
Attention span.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
attention span, yeah. 8 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you'd be doing an album in 60 seconds, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fucking
like grindcore album.
10 tracks.
Yeah.
um, so is have you played the album, or has Matt heard the album yet?
I know he's heard it. He just said cool.
Yeah.
Um, I think because he's so out of music now that
Yeah.
I think he was just like probably just checking up like to see that I haven't murdered the band or something. But I've
Disgraced the legacy.
yeah, but I've always written Evile stuff, so it's in safe hands. I'm not going to suddenly go screamo, whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know what you mean.
there's
Yeah.
some bands that have completely changed the style and literally changed the genre, and it's just wow. But yeah, we're always going to do this.
Hey, dude! Some would say you've completely changed style on this album. I mean,
Yeah, they would.
there are there. Let's be honest. There are people out there who are going to be like, "Where's my thrash?"
Well, if they listen to Eval's back catalogue more than just Thrasher, that one song, they'd hear we've done ballads, we've done mid pace, we've done heavy, we've detuned, we've done a lot of that. We just haven't overly explored it. So that I haven't changed anything in my writing process other than in Pro Tools. I've grabbed the tempo bar and gone like that with it. That's the only difference. The slower the tempo, the bigger the riffs. You can't really go
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
over slow
dude,
riff.
as soon as Monolith started, I went, well, I know why this song's called Monolith. I reckon someone played that riff in a rehearsal room and someone went, fucking hell, that's like, oh, that's monolithic. Or somebody writing that riff went, that's monolithic, that is.
The modern version of that. So Adam sent me the riff on WhatsApp, and I was like, "Great riff," and then came up with the title for Monolith. So yeah, the modern version.
Yeah, it's but yeah, it's that's huge, man. And congrats on the Unknown, the track, because I tell you what, I played it once. I was walking around the house for the rest of the day. I was like, I couldn't get it out of my fucking head.
Oh, excellent!
Yeah.
My work here is done. I think
What?
that one song for me, it's because it's so polarizing. I've seen so many people saying this is the best song Eval's ever done, but then underneath that it'll be this song is terrible. I can't believe Eval have done this. And to me, that's good because
Yeah.
it's so polarizing that it's done the right thing. Like if you like it, great. If you don't, whatever.
I've said this many times on the podcast, but the last thing you want someone typing is going, yeah, it's all right.
Well, there's that as well.
Yeah,
There's been
yeah.
that.
But that's like, do you know what I mean? It's like you want this is the greatest thing they've ever done, or this is a fucking an abomination. What are they
Yeah,
doing? It's like I'd
yeah,
much rather have those than yeah, it's all right. Yeah,
yeah. You're
whatever.
like blood, sweat, and tears for 2 years creating it, and then just like, it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. Didn't even move the needle. Not even
yeah.
it's doing a blip. Just yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
It'll do, I suppose. Um,
But the other thing, when people comment negative stuff in this day and age with social media, they've just increased the engagement on the post, so therefore made
yeah.
it more popular. So, thank you for commenting and making more people see it.
Well, and also you get discussions happening in the comments as well,
Yeah,
because like people will respond and go like, yeah, what you fucking what
yeah.
song are you listening to? Do you know?
And that
And
all
you start
fuels the
seeing,
views.
and that all drives engagement. It feeds the algorithm, the greedy algorithm.
It does, it does.
Yeah, feed the algorithm, and maybe one of us will be able to buy a bag of crisps one day.
Or a multi-pack.
Yeah. Um, I see your and I was looking at your tour dates, and there's a definite detour in the tour dates as well, because you've gone well. It's like as an outsider looking in, these look like smaller venues than you'd normally play, and I think you like me, you want to fucking ram places out, and
Yeah.
if it means some people can't get in, then sorry, but you then go to the next venue and you get a respectable crowd,
Hmm.
but you don't get the vibe.
I think it's twofold. There is that reason. It's great playing the smaller ones, packing them out and everything. It's sweaty and amazing. But also, like, I think the 5 to 8 years that Eval didn't do any music when I wasn't in the band, it kind of knocked Evile a bit in the sense that a lot of people thought Evile was just gone
Yeah,
or just not didn't exist anymore. So I think the perception of Evile went down a bit, but we're doing these shows and these tours, smaller places, packing them out to let everyone know, look, we're still here. We've got this
yeah.
new album out. Come down and see us. and hopefully that'll have a snowball effect to let people know that we're still here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, try going away for 24 years, mate. See what that does to your fan base. They all turn into old fat cunts. That's what happens.
Brilliant.
Hello, Acid Rain fans. I love you. Well, the band are a bunch of old fat cunts as well, so it's all right. But some people would be surprised to hear you say that a band of Eviles standing, still has that philosophy. That's. I mean,
well, Evile have always been the band that we've never been able to push through that threshold of not do it for a living, but be able to do it comfortably and earn enough money doing it. So it's eternally been a hobby. Like we've toured our asses off over the years, and
oh yeah,
not that it didn't mean anything. It's just we did so much, and then it's like, oh, why aren't we still doing it that much? It's just circumstances completely changed.
Yeah. Oh, it's basically there's very few bands that reach that point where you can dictate your career.
Yeah.
It ultimately the music business decides your career for you. It's very few who are able to actually tame the beast.
True. I think that's a big reason why. One of the reasons why I left back in 2013, because it was just I've put my all into it, like literally waking up to sleeping, fully dedicated to Evile, writing and everything. And it just got to a point where it's like I can't put this much in anymore. I either have to do it to that extent or nothing at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah. But it's not a choice or a decision, is it? It's something you have to do, because I get the feeling we're very similar, because I'm the same. It's either 100% or I don't want to put my name to it.
Yeah, literally that. That's why I spend so much time on the songs. Like we started writing this album, or at least I did in my head, when we were in the studio for the last album. So I wrote the first riff and thought that'd be cool. And then the writing process is literally me uploading the MP3 of the song so far to my phone and putting it on in the car as I drive to work and back, and listening like 500, 600 times until something like clicks and I realize what should come next or what should get deleted. And it's that process for 2 years. And there's like maybe 18 versions of each song before they're done.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have the time and opportunity to do that, I wouldn't want to do it, because I wouldn't be able to accept that the song's finished because I haven't explored it enough.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a big task for me.
Yeah, but also, how do you switch that off? Because presumably you then you're playing a song that you've got 18 versions of, you're perfectly happy with, it's great, and then one day you're playing it and you hear where something else could have gone, or where something.
That's the other problem. I think to switch it off, I would need to go through with a diagnosis for ADHD and get medication, and then not be able to do it anymore. That's probably how to do it.
Well, dude, I got my diagnosis in 2019. I got medicated in 2020. It hasn't affected creativity.
Okay.
It's just rounded the sharp edges.
I understand.
And I live alone, and it got to a point where I was annoying myself. I'd annoyed everybody in my life away from me, and then I started it on me. And, I thought, there's something wrong here. Something's not right, and I got to the bottom of it. But medication has helped, definitely.
Well, I didn't even realize until not that long ago. I was someone I know close to me got diagnosed with ADHD, and then they started saying, "Oh, you do this as well." So, oh, really? And then I spoke to some friends of mine and said, "Like, do you think I've got ADHD?" And they said, "Yeah."
Well,
like, why didn't you tell me? So,
but do you know what though? Rule number one: if somebody walks into your office with for a diagnosis, if they say that they are any kind of artist or performer whatsoever, yes, they've got
Yeah, probably.
ADHD. It's like,
Yeah,
yes,
probably.
they're on the spectrum somewhere,
Yeah.
because ultimately getting up on stage in front of everyone and being this and having all those eyes on you is the exact fucking opposite of what most people want out of life.
Yeah.
And it's the, and that's I'm convinced that's what's helped me do
Me
everything
too.
that I've have. It's what's got us where it's that insane focus, that 100% or nothing, and following through with it.
Yeah, the hyper focus was what I realized with me, because I could come up to the to record at like 8 o'clock, and I wouldn't have an idea, and then I'd get one idea that would spark something, and I wouldn't be able to stop until like 2, 3 in the morning, because I am so focused and I can't stop until I'm satisfied with what I'm doing. And as soon as it's done and finished and recorded and I'm happy, look at the clock, it's like 3 in the morning. I'm like, oh, bedtime, I guess. So that's when it clicked with me, like maybe, there is something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the flip side of that for me is the hyper focus. It's also the hyper non-interest of anything that doesn't engage me 100%.
Yeah. And that's not in a rude way. It's
No,
just you
not
switch
yeah.
off. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's literally, it's that, I'm sorry, I'm not listening.
Yeah. I'm trying.
I've gone. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, my ex, who I used to live with, we had the pretty early on, we had this rule, like no small talk, because coming home and started out with that "how's your day" shit, and it's like I'm like, I can't do this. It's like it
Yeah.
was fucking boring, but you know what? Even worse is talking about it.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
You know, so, well, but yeah, I had a conversation with somebody who mentioned adult ADHD, and I was like, what's that? Which still really annoys me, because there is no such thing, because
It's just
somebody, yeah, it's
ADHD.
ADHD. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just undiagnosed ADHD is what it should be
Yeah.
called. Well, it
Yeah.
was diagnosed. I grew up in the 70s in Yorkshire. I was diagnosed with having ants in my pants. Uh, if that's not the 70s Yorkshire version of ADHD, I don't know what the fuck is.
Yeah, pretty much.
And let's face it, I got all the medication I was going to get back then. Fucking nothing.
Yeah.
So but yeah, they mentioned it, and I started looking into it, and like literally within about 2 hours after the conversation, I was like, yeah, that's me, innit?
Yeah.
That's and it's if you've got any old school reports or anything like that, because when you get, if you go for a diagnosis, they'll want to know, they want all your school reports, they'll want to speak to your mum and dad, they'll want to know your birth weight, your age, what age you first walked, what you first talked, what your first word was, any illnesses during it's so in depth. But the school reports as well, and if yours are anything like mine, they're like, great kid, clearly intelligent, doesn't fucking seem to give a shit what
Yeah.
he's here for.
Mine was either really nice class clown, but is away with the fairies or staring out the window. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
pretty much.
I was disruptive, yeah, disruptive as well. Class clown, and just bored as well, and really really judgmental about teachers. You know what I mean? Parents would come home after parents' evening, going, "Well, hang on, you were really good at French last year, and now you're rubbish." And I was like, "Yeah, rubbish teacher." Next question.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, idiot." Yeah, it's a shame. And I remember sitting there and saying it's a shame, because I really like French, but I can't do it with this clown, and that sounds terrible. That sounds so fucking, arrogant coming from a kid at school.
A bit, you would
But
think, yeah.
well, it is, but that's another thing that comes with ADHD is that 100% or nothing. Is that you have your own laws, and they're very strict, and they are solid, and they've done you no harm throughout your life, and that's how you roll. And invariably, you've been like that since you were a little kid. You've been like that since before everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, it's oh, it's a trip, man. Honestly, it's an absolute trip.
It is.
Mm.
I've only recently learned, so I'm learning now.
Yeah, it's worth looking into, mate.
Cool.
Definitely,
I will.
definitely. Yeah, cool. Anyway, look, back to the album. Go off a right fucking tangent here. Um, but so you've I mean, like you said, Matt is like so far away from music right now. And presumably it's just, not on his radar anymore.
It is on his radar. I mean, I think he's doing some music himself, a project or two, but I think it's just for himself. I don't think there's any plan to tour or gig. It'll just be, it might release, it might not.
Yeah.
But I think he's more in the like the opeth realm of experimental kind of rocky metal, proggy kind of stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because he
And
didn't. He wrote some Evile stuff. Like on each album, he wrote like one song or like parts of one song to make it a full song. But the majority, he just did the vocals and the lyrics. So he was really good at that. After doing vocals and lyrics myself, I really appreciate how much work Matt put into everything.
yeah, yeah. It's funny. I've heard that before. Like when when you have got to step up there, and because and I think it's important that you write the lyrics. I think it's important that the singer writes the lyrics. For me,
Yeah,
it's everything. I can't imagine having somebody else's words in my mouth.
yeah. I didn't understand that because I'd have ideas for songs. Like, I wrote the lyrics for our ballad "In Memoriam" for our old bassist Mike, and Matt didn't want to do songs that he hadn't written the words for. But there weren't any words for it, so we did it. But I didn't understand that until I sang. I mean, I'm singing his songs, the older stuff, but that's
Yeah,
necessity. But yeah, I do understand.
yeah.
But saying that, I don't have as much a problem with it because "Sleepless Eyes" on the album was written by Joel, the vocal lyrics, um, and I just kind of went with it.
But fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Set of lyrics comes in. One down, isn't it? One set you
I
don't
was
have
like,
to
oh,
do.
we've got one song left. It's got no lyrics. Has anyone got any?
And lyrically, your approach on this album must have kind of differed as well.
Yeah. It was purely because after the last album, singing about demons and war and stuff, um, got all the music down, well, some music, and then started writing vocal parts. And as soon as I started trying stuff in the same vein as demons and war, it was just embarrassing. It was just like
It didn't
I
fit the
tr-
music.
it did not fit at all. It was
Yeah.
like a parody, and it was just yeah, it didn't work. So the only thing that worked was when I thought about real life like experience that I've been through. It's the only thing I could write about because it's all I know about.
Yeah.
And as soon as I can't remember which song it was. Might be The Unknown actually, because I already had the lyrics from years ago when I was not in the band. And as soon as I tried it, it just clicked instantly, and that was it. It was like, right, I've got to do this. So it
Uh,
decided for itself basically.
yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I said this. I said this in an interview with Kelly again the other night. That what I found is, like, as a younger person, I used to write about what I think, and tell everybody what I think. Whereas
Mm.
as an older person, you tend to write about what you feel,
Yeah.
and what you know and what you've experienced.
Yes.
And I think that is way more interesting.
It is. Like it's cool that I've had messages from people. One of the songs on the album, "At Mirror's Speech," it's about basically my self-image and my self-esteem and growing up, just not liking looking in mirrors and didn't like pictures of me or videos. Still to this day, there's a bit of it in me, but I had people message just saying, "I just wanted to say this song really means a lot to me. I grew up struggling with how I look and blah blah," and they say it really resonated with them. and it's just really cool to hear. It's great that it's they've enjoyed it, or it's helped them in a way. So it is cool, that kind of stuff.
That is a beautiful thing, because no one's messaging you saying, yeah, mate, I'd say, oh, killing dragons, eh? Fucking hell. It's not easy, is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. When I went to hell, it was pretty
yeah,
brutal.
yeah. I was only there for a day. um, but yeah, but that also it's so much more open to interpretation, because what you're writing about, you know exactly what you're writing about, but that doesn't stop those words conjuring up in somebody else a completely different experience, and this song could have been written for them, and yet
Exactly.
their
Yeah.
narrative is their own.
Like the song "The Unknown." I had a mother message, metalhead mum, just
Wow.
saying that this song is amazing. I know exactly what you went through, and it's about me and my daughter, but it was about her and her son. So it crosses that barrier of it even being about
It
what
was
I'm
about a
writing about.
parent.
Yeah, being a parent. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
great.
That
Even it
that's
says
that's
about
awesome.
being a father, she still relates to the song. It's great.
Yeah, yeah. That is awesome, and that must be incredibly rewarding as well. And something that's, I mean, is it new to you, or is it just something
I
that's
mean,
just a little bit more pronounced with this album?
yeah, technically it's new to me because I've always had people like compliment Evile, like guitarists and everything. They'd always say, "Oh, riffs are great," blah blah blah. Um, but yeah, I think this album's the first time people have messaged me and said to me, "This song resonated with me," or it meant something. I'm sure maybe Matt got those before. I don't know because he was the singer. But yeah, this album's like been a turning point. I think in a way.
That's great. That's great. And it's that must be so rewarding, because especially something that you haven't experienced before, but also it's that kind of music therapy, kind of thing. It's like, you have to go through, because you're putting yourself out there basically,
Yeah,
and
literally.
when people and when people respond to that in a positive way and really get it,
Yeah.
that's incredibly fulfilling.
It is rewarding. I think that's when it means the most. I can tell when someone's listened to the album and they've properly listened to it and given it a chance and seen something in it. Whereas you see like reviews or people who their criteria for an album is it thrash or not? And I do not give a shit if that's what all you want from an album. Like listen to our first album if you want that. It's like we're not going to be we're not a bullet belt polishing service basically. We're doing what we want to do. And if you want high tops and bullet belts, just
Mate,
listen to what we
that's the blabbermouth headline right there. We're not a bully belts polishing service. All Evile
yeah.
tells his fans to fuck off in a unique way.
Oh no, I'm not saying fuck off. I'm saying just
I know.
open your ears a bit.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But yeah, right. I mean, lyrically, for me, I'm always, it's always great to get feedback about lyrics, but because it's the same as feedback about music, which
Hmm.
is there's stuff you put on the album, and when you're recording it that 5% of your listenership will get what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Those audiophiles, those true hardcore people who listen to music inside out, they're going to get this,
Yeah.
but it's going to go over 95% of, and lyrically there's a certain element to that as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where some people are like, oh yeah, I love the chorus, like, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, great. And whereas other people are appreciate the whole thing, and the whole narrative you've built and actually where it's coming from. it's funny that you know the two both have those people who get absolutely everything, and then those people who just take from it, you know, what they will, just little bits.
Yeah. There was a review. There's a guy on YouTube who just reacts to metal. Can't remember his name right now. But he'd never heard Evil before, and he checked out The Unknown. And all he does for his videos is he explains the band, and then he puts his headphones on, listens to the whole track. He doesn't pause, he doesn't comment, he just enjoys it. And just to watch him listen to it for the first time, it was just headbanging and loving it. And to me, that means so much because there's no bullshit. He's not like, oh, that bit. Oh, he just really got into it, and I wish I could remember his name right now, but yeah, it's just great to see that kind of just enthusiasm.
Dude, I am so fucking jealous. I love those fucking, I love those kind of things. I fall down YouTube rabbit holes. I fell down the Lost in Vegas rabbit hole many years ago.
I was literally just thinking of them as you said that.
Oh, I was old school on those boys before they had 1 million followers.
Yeah, I love
And
them.
I absolutely love them. They were doing a breakdown of "Shine on You Crazy Diamond" by Pink Floyd,
Yes.
and it was about 3 or 4. I mean, there's so much beautiful guitar at the beginning of that song,
Yeah.
and it was about 3.5 minutes in, and one of them paused it, and I was like, "Oh, dude, don't pause it there. That he's making that guitar sing." Don't you know? And it was the guy on the right, the slightly less cool dude, and and he said, "I just wanted to pause this to say that this guy is making that guitar sing." And I was just like, "Oh, you never let
Brilliant.
me down. You never let me
Yeah.
down." I love their analysis.
They're both equally cool to me. So
Oh, they're both cooler
they
than me.
they did Disposable Heroes Metallica, and there
Yeah,
was
I know it. Yeah.
a pre-roll of the Evile song at the start of it, and that just blew my mind. Like I'd love
Oh,
for them to react to an Evile song. It would be great.
oh, mate. As soon as I started watching them, I was like, "Oh, I would love." But then I started thinking, but I get to choose the song, right?
Yeah, nope.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, not something off the first album we couldn't even fucking play. No.
Yeah, whenever I meet someone and they're like, "Oh, so you're in a band?" So, yeah, called Evile. Oh, cool, I'll check them out. And they go on Spotify and they put on a song that's like, no, 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 don't listen to that one. Let's try this one.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. You just want to grab the phone off them because, oh no, that's not an accurate representation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is a weird one though, when it's like people are like, "Oh yeah, no, I'll check, I'll check your band out." Okay, cool. I mean, and I'm talking like people in the real world,
Yeah.
and you're just
Normal
like,
people.
yeah, and you're like, "Oh, like, are you on Spotify? Oh yeah, you'll find us on there. Yeah, all right, okay. What kind of music is it? Thrash metal. All right, okay. You won't like it. Oh, no, I'll give it out. No, I'll give it out. I'm just saying it's okay if you don't like it. All right. I'm giving
Yeah.
you that out now. But I can always bung them like, like a Hanging on the Telephone cover or a Blood Makes Noise cover. So I can give them something that's like nice and easy and go, yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody who really wants to know what we do, then I'll point them in a different direction. But yeah, it is a weird one, isn't it? It's like, because like your normal person, it's like you're confronted with thrash metal, they're just like, oh,
Yeah,
right.
I usually shy away from saying thrash metal at first because if they're a normie, they're like, "Oh, you're in a rock band." um, I guess so. Yeah, it's like heavy metal, heavy metal. And then if they go, "Oh, like AC/DC," I was like, "Well, no, it's a bit heavier. It's maybe more like Metallica." They're like, "Oh, Metallica." I'm like, "Right, I'm not going any further than that."
Yeah, yeah. And I always say like, I go do the exact same route, and I'll say that, like, I'll say thrash metal, like Metallica, and they'll go, oh, right, oh, Metallica, right, okay, and they go, early, early Metallica though, and of course it's like at that point you just think, yeah, probably best walk away from this. It's
My favorite is, are you a rocker then? Like, a rocker.
yeah.
Okay.
You always used to get the when are you going to be on top of the pops? If you ever need a roadie,
Yeah.
yeah, all those.
Yeah. Still
Yeah.
get them. Still get the roadie ones.
Oh mate, I tell you what though, I tell you what, got it easy as a musician, as a comedian. Fucking hell, comedian are you? Hey, tell us a joke then. Fuck off, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or
It's,
it's the old oh, my mate. Oh, I'll tell you, mate of mine, we tell him he should be a stand-up comedian. He's really, he's so funny.
yeah.
It's great.
Funniest guy in the office.
Yeah, exactly. I say, it absolutely does my brain in. But the weird thing is, the first thing people usually ask is about hecklers, and it always does my brain in. It's like coming up to you and going, all right, so you singing Eva, yeah, what your fans like? And exactly, you'd be like, I don't know, ask them.
Human?
Yeah, go and ask them what they collectively,
Yeah.
think. It's like immediately you want to know what strangers shout out at comedy shows. I don't know, but yeah, it's a pain in the ass, mate. Absolute pain in the ass. But I don't know. It always used to be a thing with cab drivers. Not so much now, but it's kind of weird because over the years, like artists and musicians, since the advent of the internet, getting paid a lot less. I think a lot of self-employed people identify with, with artists and performers.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they go, yeah, just grind. It's the grind. It's the grind.
It's like, I think something people don't understand is like, not normal people have a normal job. They get a wage every month. I work full time. And imagine if your job said, we can't pay you for another 2 months because of some problems, like a few money problems, like the festival didn't do as well as we thought, so your fee is going to be with you in like 2 to 3 months maybe. And then maybe they might not even pay, because then they'll say, we've gone bankrupt, we're not going to have the festival again. So you play the festival for free and not made any money. You spent money on the flights.
Yeah, you've lost money.
Yeah. So to equate that to a normal job, you would never stand for that. If your employer said, "Oh, sorry, you can't pay you this month, maybe next month,"
there are laws against it.
Off.
Well, there are laws against it.
There's literally laws against that.
Yeah. I mean, Christ, you hear about it when footballers aren't going to get paid at the end of the month. Do you know what I mean?
Like, oh, boo hoo! I'm not going to get that 50 million. But yeah, there's so much in the music industry that if people knew, well, they wouldn't want to, basically.
Yeah. No, I was having this discussion recently. It's exactly that.
Yeah, and people say, "Oh, come and tour in wherever." It's like, okay, I'll ask my employer if I can have 3 months off. I don't think it will.
Yeah.
It's come to that now. The older you get, the more bills you've got to pay. If you've got kids, blah blah blah. It's literally about, for me, if I can get time off work to tour.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm being fully honest.
Yeah. No, I get it. And the thing is that as you've mentioned earlier, we want to be on tour. Do you know what I mean? It's like, of course, that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
You've just sweated blood for 2 years to create an album. Yes, of course you want to go play it live.
But it's that gamble of, okay, I'll quit my job so I can do these tours. I might not get paid any money. It's like, sorry, kids, no food for this month.
Yeah. But then there's the other thing, though. Ol. Let's say you do this little club tour. It's, the album hits the States, it starts rolling, track maybe gets picked up by a soundtrack or something, ends up on gaming. Things start building. You get to a position where, do you know what? Actually, I'm in a position here. We've been offered tours. Right. Okay, let's do this. Let's quit the job. Let's do it. Right. Okay. Right. Great. One successful tour. Everything's back up in the fucking air again.
Yeah.
You've got to write another album. And what happens now?
Yeah. In 2010, we toured North America for 5 months. We did 170 some shows. We did a European tour. We did a UK tour. We did all the Euro festivals, Wacken, Hellfest, all them. So many gigs that year. And then it was like, right, do another album and then do some more tours. So I'm not complaining. It was great. But you put so much work in and it just goes off into the ether.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's an amazing experience, though, touring America and Canada that much. It was just mind blowing. I honestly wish we could do it as a job. If we
yeah.
could, if there were laws in place for musicians to get paid somehow, I
Yeah.
would definitely do it. It's just not that simple.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm absolutely with you. I'm totally jealous. Never played the States, so that is a yeah. I mean, that's fucking awesome.
Well, it was
Um,
literally break even. In fact, there was complications with the RV that we hired, which meant um, we hugely didn't break even because there was some legal small print that said if you go over this mileage, you owe $1 per mile. And think how many thousands of miles you do in America.
oh God,
That didn't go well. So
no,
it happens.
yeah, that's oh man, that's got to have been pretty horrific at the time.
Yeah. Well, it's not as bad as like what Morbid Angel and Crypto went through recently in America. Did you see the RV got completely destroyed?
Yeah,
There was that storm, and I think a few people got killed, and they had to raise like $80,000 to pay for the RV. It's just ridiculous.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, it is. And that, but like you say, you know, wanting to do it, um, and well, having done it before as well, it's kind of like, yeah, it would be great to do, but also the landscape now, post COVID, and
yeah.
just the way we are at the moment, Ukraine, Europe, like the States,
Mm,
everything has just been complicated so much, and
yeah.
what a surprise, become less profitable.
It's so expensive. We were in the process of getting a North American tour with Crypta for Hell Unleashed album. And it got to the point where I think Crypta got something else that was better. um, and just financially, we'd be in the red before we even left the country because of fuel, vehicle hire, everything, flights, visa stuff. We can't literally can't do it. Like it's not financially viable to do. So we would love to go back over to America. Like we have the resource, we have a booking agent. It's just so complicated and expensive.
Yeah, yeah, money. It's all about the money, baby.
It is.
It is. It does. It totally sucks. But it's just. I mean, well, funnily enough, I've just come into possession of the original master tapes of our all of our original albums,
Hmm.
and you know, a few people said, are you gonna? We've actually got the proper 2.25 inch master of Obnoxious, so we could remix it. Um, and someone said, "Will you be doing a remix?" And straight away the answer is like, "Well, nope," because that's more than there would be a budget to release the fucking thing. You
Yeah.
know, because that's fine. That's fine to mix it. It's got to be somebody. You know, it's got to be somebody that you want to do it.
Hmm.
Well, if they're going to do a decent job, it's going to cost money,
Yeah. If
and that's the end of that.
you get what you pay for.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and that's why a lot of stuff gets remastered and it doesn't get remixed.
Hmm.
It's because it's just a massively different job.
True.
Um,
I mean, on top of all this negativity, like doing this is amazing. Like
yes,
the
yeah,
festivals we get to do, we festivals are great for us because we can fly in, play, fly out, and go back to work. Um, it's just such a privilege that we started in 2002, and we can still play a gig, we can still play a festival, and people singing the songs and watching us and watching and listening to our stuff online. It's still it still amazes me from like the MySpace days, which I loved. I loved MySpace. Just put your songs on. You've got your top friends. It was great. But yeah,
Tom, number one.
Tom. Yeah. Oh no, I think I knocked him down. Actually, could you knock Tom off, or did he have to be there?
I
I
think
can't
he had
remember.
to be there. He
Oh,
was like
man.
the Elon Musk of his day.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. But he was cool. Tom didn't do shit. He was just like,
Yeah,
here's a
Tommy.
MySpace. Right, I'm off. Bye.
Yeah, he was there to say hello when you first got there.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I missed that. But yeah, it, like Spotify. It's a double-edged sword for me. I use it myself. I love it. It's easy. You just stick it on your car. I just wish they paid artists more.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
mean, I heard recently that Spotify don't even make a profit, so that's obviously more complicated. But it just baffles me. The streaming thing baffles me.
Oh, dude, do you know what baffles me? What baffles me is when if I'm on the tube in London and I see an advert and there's a huge billboard and it says 3 months of free music on Amazon Music. And I'm thinking, so
So
which bands did you organize? Which bands did you arrange that with then?
yeah, yeah. It's I think the
Am I
industry's
just
so
old fashioned?
convoluted. Yeah, maybe. Oh well.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone else thinks, oh, that's really cool. I see it. I'm just thinking, with 3 months of giving our fucking music away.
Not
Really?
ours.
Yeah. Everyone's going to be like streaming acid rain, aren't they? Yeah. But you know what I mean? It is that kind of like, okay, how does that work?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
which
again,
streams are free and which ones are paid? Oh, fucking whatever.
yeah. Again, I love it. I love streaming, but
Yeah.
being on both sides of it, it it doesn't add up.
It's a
But
love hate. It's a love hate
yeah,
being both
it
sides
is.
of it, without a doubt. It's like it's weird. It's like Spotify, YouTube as well. It's
Mm,
like a guilty pleasure. It's like
yeah.
yeah, very strange, very strange. But it is, and the thing is, you were saying there about the fact that you're still able to do this. The beautiful thing about metal is that you'll be able to continue to do this until you don't want to do it.
Yeah, that is true. Um, I think most years we would be able to play festivals and get on the lineups and stuff. It's just a matter of fitting it in now.
Yeah,
But we do have that privilege. So like
yeah,
my girls are a bit older now. They're almost one of them's 6 and one of them's almost 3. So they're getting to that age where not that they understand, but they're a bit more okay with me being away for like a 3 to 4 days. So it will get easier.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, you've still got like loads to accomplish. This is just the latest album, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got plenty of years down the line yet.
Well, my back doesn't. um, I think in a way, um, obviously with the lineup change and me going on to vocals, we kind of purposely viewed it as starting from square one because, the whole 8 year gap, the change, we looked at Hell Unleashed like we look at Enter the Grave. So we saw like fresh start. This is not a new band, but a new slate. Let's start again. Let's make our stamp with this next album. Let's have it thrash as fuck and just get out there and let people know Evile are back. And then this next one's no different from what we've done before. It's a response to the previous album and what we were feeling at the time. And in a way, yeah, it's our second album in a way, I like to think. Not discrediting the previous albums, but it's like a rebirth in a way. So it is our sixth album, but in a way, it's also our second album.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, and I think that will make sense to people listening as well, because I think that that's a sensible approach. It's kind of like everything's changed, so let's start from the beginning.
It's like when you change the singer in a metal band, it's the most dangerous thing you can do because you have everyone from bring Matt back to change the band name, it's not the same. And it's like, fuck you. Like, I've put 20 plus years into this band. I'm not going to change it to like Brown Whistle or something. I'm staying with Evile because that's what I dedicate my life to.
Dude, I had the same thing bringing the band back and it being four new guys and people saying like, well, it's not Acid Rain. You shouldn't call it, and it's like you should call it like, you know, H and like and Co or something like that. It's like, yeah, because that's what a record label want to put out,
Yeah,
innit?
yeah.
Hey, you know, we want to
I
put some
like
new, we want
I
to
like
put
how we have the same voice for the complaining guy. Oh, it's not. Bring that back.
Yeah, it's a Yorkshire thing, isn't it? Well, I fucking call it H and the summit or and the point is, and I was like, hang on, you're saying like you're cool with it, but don't call it acid rain. I said, well, my problem with that is that I sang in acid rain, I sing in acid rain, and all of the songs we're playing are
Or
by
acid rain.
acid rain. So conversely, I think it would be fucking stupid to call it anything
Yeah,
else.
it would. It would. I mean, one of the reasons well, the main reason we carried on in 2009 when Mike passed away is because of Mike. It's like he would not want us to stop. So we carried on. We just hit the ground running again. And for me, it's the same thing. I will never, as long as I make music with this band, it will always be Evile because I've always been involved in the writing and the songs, and I still am. And to
Well,
discredit
yeah,
the work, it's just no, no.
it's even more. It's even more you now because you're singing and writing the majority of the lyrics
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
and writing 18 versions of every song.
20 sometimes. But this is a weird segue, but I learned that Beethoven did the same. So his like
Oh,
for
fuck
release,
off!
and
Come on.
I don't mean it like that. Honestly, he had so many revisions of like Moonlight Sonata and all that that they found until he found the perfect structure. It was like ADHD. Beethoven had ADHD guaranteed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's but that is a weird tangent. Yeah,
By
not
the way,
just
Beethoven did that.
yeah, not saying I'm Beethoven, but I'm just saying that one of our processes is very similar.
Give me a harpsichord.
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, that's brilliant. But yeah, like, but everyone. I was going to go and say everyone has their process. Do you know what I mean? So there'll be people listening who'd be like, "Fucking hell, that is a mental way to write," and then they tell you how they write, and you'd be like, "Are you fucking nuts?"
Yeah, like I've talked about it before, but like I have a hilarious philosophy on songwriting that I know that Kirk Hammett agrees with. So it's I don't look at it like I'm writing the song. I look at it like the song already exists. So I imagine there's an alternate universe and the
Right.
song's finished in that universe. I'm not writing this song. I'm trying to figure out what that song is from there. And that's why when I'm listening to so much and something clicks, I think I've figured out the next bit of that song, not my song. I'm
Right.
trying
Yeah.
to figure that one out. And that really helps me because it makes me approach it in a way that I'm not trying things out. I'm figuring things out, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So ultimately, you're not writing a song, you are trying to negotiate a path to finding what that song is actually supposed to
What it
be.
should be, what it should be,
Yeah.
yes. And if it goes down the wrong route and it sounds a bit shit, like it can't be that, it's not that. And I get rid of it.
Right. It's total sense. Makes total
Yeah.
sense. But again, but it's your process. It's your process, you know?
Mm. I'm
I
Beethoven's.
fucking leave off the Beethoven, all right? Dear me. I tell you what, that might also be the a blabbermouth headline as well.
I am Beethoven.
Yeah. Heavy
I get
metal
them frilly
Beethoven.
things out of my collar
Oh,
and my
cuffs
sleeves.
and collars. Oh, that would be
Yeah.
amazing, mate. Yeah, just go on stage like that. Brilliant. I wouldn't put it past you guys, because you do like making some stupid little videos, don't you, in your rehearsal rooms?
Yeah, I think it's how we are, so that's how videos will be with us. Like we're not going
Yeah.
to put on. I really don't like when bands take themselves too seriously. Like, hey
Oh God.
guys, we're going to be there. No, yeah, see there. Like, no,
Yeah.
no, we're not like that. So why would we do that? So
But
we'd rather have a
yeah,
laugh.
but you know what? I genuinely think that the reason why Acid Rain is like it is to this day is because we're from Yorkshire. Because
Yeah,
the last thing you just said, we'd rather just have a laugh.
yeah, yeah,
And that is exactly, I mean, we were fucking, 18, 19 years old. So you can imagine, you
mm.
know. So yeah, because I genuinely think it is that Yorkshire thing, isn't it? It's like, should we take it seriously?
I mean,
Yeah,
even like Tom Araya Slayer, obviously great playing, but he's smiling. He's having a good
yeah,
time, having a laugh. It's like he doesn't take himself seriously.
yeah,
The
yeah,
biggest bands don't.
yeah. And
Most.
I think if you throw in an element of not giving a shit,
Yeah,
do you know? Because let's, and that does not cover most musicians, because most
yeah,
musicians do very much give a shit.
yeah. I do give a shit, but in the sense of like, I'm sure you'll understand. Now I'm older. I do not give a shit about like what people think about Evile or the music. If we put something out, I used to like concentrate on the negative comments and ignore the positive ones because it'd be like, oh my god, why don't they like it? And now I just don't care. I look for, I skim through, and I'm like, yeah, it's overly positive. That's great. I'll
Yeah,
laugh at the bullet belt comments, and that's it.
yeah, yeah.
If everyone hated it, if everyone was commenting, oh my god, this sucks, I'd be like, oh, maybe it does.
Do you know what, mate? Do you know what? Maybe that's what getting older is. It's just it's figuring out what to give a shit about and what not
Yeah.
to give a shit about.
Yes,
And as
it
you get
probably is.
older, you just realize that stuff that was important isn't.
Yeah. I give a shit about making the music. I don't give a shit about if someone hates it. If they
Yeah,
like it, great. Thank you for listening. They
yeah,
don't.
yeah. Oh, I have. Well, I had a horrific experience when I was younger with the press, um, and that kind of formed my attitude for the rest of my life, really, which is fuck them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not saying I have special powers or anything, but Paul Miller, who slagged me right off when he reviewed the Fear, was run over by a bus and killed within 11 months of that review coming out.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. It was.
Wow.
I read it in Kerrang and I was like, fucking hell.
Did it have an acid rain banner on the side of the
no,
bus? No, sorry. No, no
no,
disrespect.
no. It's all right. I don't think he's listening. It was or family or estate. Um, but no, I don't think there was anything to do with me, to be honest with you, mate. But no, it is that filtering out of. But I also mean like internally as well. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
It's like, there might be an argument on its way over there. Oh well, fuck it. If there is, there is. If there isn't, there isn't. Whatever.
Mm. Yeah.
Don't try and stop it happening, because all you're going to do is move it somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's like a bubble. You know, it's
Mm.
and interband politics are, I think, like the hardest thing to get on top of,
I
but
think
easier when you get older.
yeah, oh, yeah. We're really lucky now. With this lineup now, it's a lot more positive and optimistic, and it's a lot more relaxed now. Everyone gets on. We barely have any disagreements or arguments or anything. We just have a laugh and get on with it. But before it was a struggle. But I'm just happy it's how it is now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in exactly the same place, and I think it's everybody. It's the key is just being respectful of each other's shit. You know,
Yeah.
um, we've all got shit on us. The key is just don't get yours on other people.
Yeah.
And as long as everybody takes care of everything, we'll all be all right.
Hmm.
That's
I
a
agree.
that's a nice positive way to end, isn't it?
Yeah. But the
Yeah.
fucking music industry fucks.